Well, my guest this morning, it's this morning for me, Jürgen, and it's the afternoon for you, is Jürgen Ack. He is the director of automation for and I say this and I get it wrong every Maschinenfabrik Reinhausen, which is we call MR, right?
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
Hello.
MR, one of my favorite companies to do interviews with. But thank you for joining me this morning, Jürgen.
It's a pleasure for me, Alan.
So one of the things that just struck me about you, because as a reliability engineer, I'm a member of the IEEE Reliability Society. I'm passionate about reliability. I ran an organization called the Electric Power Reliability Alliance. And one of the things that that you've talked about is that you are entering a new dimension of reliability. I love that saying. First of all, what does that mean?
It's a good question. How can I say, when you have a focus on the transformer, you see most of our customers do not really know something about the status of a transformer. There are no sensors, there's no communication, and they do not really know what about the oil, what about the winding, the bushings. And in a world where you always have the information, what's going on your transformer,
Okay. So a new dimension of reliability, because I really like that. I believe one of the big problems that we got is the reliability of the grid. We're going to talk about that. But I want to go, first of all, tell me a little bit about your background. You've been with MR for 28 years, is that right? 28, 29 years?
Impossible. 28 years, yes, of course.
20. That's amazing. So when you started, what was your first role?
It's an impossible long time, and my first role was an engineer for order processing. I create diagrams and production orders for motor drive units and for OLTCs.
Okay.
Long time ago.
A long time ago. And now as the director of automation, which is an interesting title. So I want to go into that. What does that mean that you are the director of automation for a company like MR? That's a unique title.
Yeah, there is a good reason for this.
Okay.
When you look to the transformer and you talk about digitalization,
okay,
there is one step before which you have to do. When you look to the industry 4.0, first, before you can do industry 4.0 and digitalization, you have to do industry 3.0 automation. So it makes sense. And in the 90s and in the 2000s, the rest of the world, the other branches, roll out all this automation technology to the factories, to the companies, and build automated processes. And if we look to the transformers, because of the reliability,
right,
our customer didn't do this. And now we have to do this before we can make the digital intensive stuff. This is what we work on.
Okay. You know, I think most of our readers, and because this will be published in the magazine, and our listeners, viewers, are going to think of Reinhausen, MR, for the quality of the load tap changers. That's what you all have been best known for globally for decades. Highest quality, great research. You know, no one ever was fired from buying a Reinhausen load tap changer, right? You buy one from some other country or some new, you might get fired. But Reinhausen, the best, no doubt. Now you're moving, the company is moving in a completely new, not different. You're not changing who you are, the pedigree of who you are, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But Reinhausen is changing the direction of your support for the marketplace. Talk a little bit about the challenges and why you're in the industry. You can go with T&D, you can go to OEMs, wherever you want to go. But the challenges that industry is facing that has caused MR to make that very broad. Now we're going to take what we've done in the load tap changer market, and we're bringing it to many other markets, which we're going to talk about. Talk about the challenges industry is facing.
When we talk about the end users, we see at least two main fields of new challenges. Okay. When we have a look to the asset management, then we see a lot of people retiring. And when we look to the younger people, they are not willing to spend a life for a transformer. So I'm not willing to spend a life for a bushing. And what we lose is the know-how about all these technical systems.
Yeah.
And hundreds of years of experience are gone.
Yeah.
And the transformers are much more, how can I say, the load is much more volatile than in the past. And not our asset managers are in a really strange situation. They have old transformers, a high volatility. They need a lot of new transformers, and there is no people. And digitalization can help to handle the situation. And on the other hand, when you look to the SCADA systems and to the energy management, at least, how should we handle the situation with the load? When we look to Germany, for example, we had a lot of wind farms in the north and a lot of industry in the south, but we do not have enough transformers lines, overhead lines. And though we have to switch off the wind farms in the north and produce energy per gas in the south. And in this situation, digitalization can also help to bring more load from the north to the south.
Right. You know, variable load management has become kind of there's two parts of it. One of them is exactly what you talk about, load from one load to the other. The other one is in some places, I'm going to use the United States, this overheating where everybody in Houston, Texas or Phoenix is running air conditioning, right? Especially when they get home. The load just goes to, in ERCOT, they actually hit peak where they just didn't have enough power. So the average kilowatt hour cost went through the roof because they try to manage it by charging a lot, right? But the loads are changing because of weather events, because of this DER, distributed energy with wind and solar. And it's becoming crazy for people managing load factors. It's also having a negative impact on the transformers. I mean, now you got all kinds of transients and you got all kinds of harmonics that we didn't have when we didn't have an inverter, but we have an inverter-based system coming into play, right? So you're right. The challenges are great. Now, what are you going to do at MR to solve them? Fix one of them. Tell me one challenge you're fixing.
Thank you for this question. Just one of this. Imagine there's a world where you can get the prognosis of wind, of whatever going on in the market, in the energy system, and bring it to the transformer for the next 24 hours. And you have an idea what your transformer doing cooling, and you can manage the cooling control reactively. And so you can enhance the load by using the temperature of the cooling control and manage the oil temperature.
Okay. So you're allowing the people
to functionality.
Yeah, we're calling it running hot. You allow them to run hot, which allows them to take that variable peak load in there. So is that a product or a service? How does MR bring that into play? Are you using it through the load tap changer?
Yeah. At least you come to the point what our core product in automation and digitalization is. We bring a cloud computer to the transformer and we collect all information on the transformer and all actors. And then you know what's going on the transformer. You know exactly what temperature is inside, what is the load, which is prognosed from the SCADA system, from the energy management system. You know the health of each component. And then it's just a piece of software. Yeah. Just the functionality.
Is that the ETOS system? Is that?
Yes. This is ETOS, and this dynamic transformer rating, we call it dynamic transformer rating, is a piece of software in ETOS.
Okay. So ETOS, now where's the data management? Where does that happen? In the cloud? Is that something that you all have put together? Because it's all about data, right? It's all about data analytics, data diagnostics, all those things. Tell me a little bit, flow the data for me in where it gets analyzed.
Alan, it's a simple answer. It depends. You can do everything.
Yes.
What we do is we bring sensors on a transformer and we bring a CPU, an edge computer on a transformer. And we make a connectivity to the cloud, to the energy management, and also to any other cloud the customer wants.
Right.
And so you can run all functionality and all the software at the transformer in the edge computer, and then the information that reside to the cloud. You can work without using a cloud because you don't like it. Many of our customers do not like asset management clouds.
Right.
It's by all respect, it's their decision. And you can also do everything by sending the basic information, the basic sensor data to the cloud and do all the data analytics in the cloud.
So
if you ask me,
sorry,
last sentences. If you ask me, do the calculation at the edge computer on the transformer and send the standard information to the cloud. Only the tangents delta of the bushing and the gases from the DGA, not the basic elementar sensor data.
Okay. So if your customer wants to be able to take the data to so your data your system agnostic. You can take it to their SCADA, you can take it to something, or you all have the ability to analyze it and give them feedback. Because that's really, let's tie them together now. You've got people that are retiring, new people that have to do so much more than their counterparts. So one person replacing 3 or 4, and everything changing. I'd hate to be that new one person. If I didn't have somebody analyzing and giving me not data, but give me diagnostics. This is what's happening in your transformer. You need to do this, correct? Is that a better way of looking at it?
Perfect.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
All right. I just made that up. Okay, good. No, I know about ETOS, so I'm a little bit familiar with it, and I think it's brilliant. Now, I got to switch gears for a minute. So here's a company well known for load tap changers, right? Company that's now in the service business, because I know you're doing a lot more, not just load tap service, you're doing transformer service throughout the United States. Now you're into the data analytics, data collection diagnostics, you're into automation and digitalization. These are big leaps. How do you maintain the quality that MR has been known for in load tap changers? How do you maintain that in a service business, in this digital automation business? Tell me a little bit about that. You've been there a long time, so you probably know.
Yeah, of course. I only had the longest time at one position was 7 years in my lifetime.
Okay.
So at least I was at already all functionalities at MR and in all departments. So I know it a bit, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it's a question of culture. When you are produced for 100 years at OLTC, the OLTC goes in the transformer and nobody has a chance to go in there and repair it.
Right.
So when we develop something, when we work together with sub-suppliers, we are always very, very in detail. And when we write something on a paper, we check it twice and third time, not only once. For example, when we send our OLTC in the test field, it's more or less 1.5 years and 1.5 million euro to check our OLTC at once. When we go into the production department, for some years ago, for 20 years ago, we have some problems with the logistics, and though we decide to reinvent it, and so we have a lot of a special disposition system. We have screwdrivers with computers which check every screw and the torque on every screw. We test each product before it leaves the company.
Right.
When we go to sales, our salespeople are not hunting projects; they're taking care for customers.
Okay.
It's really different. It's some things sometimes really hard for a business unit leader, because they really do not hunting. They're taking care for the customer. And if there is a problem, they're taking care for it. When we talk about service, it's more or less the same. We have in Regensburg a development department for services. And all our service technicians have to come to Regensburg. They have to make tests for every twice years. They have to come to Regensburg and do all these things in our laboratory, check it, and then they are allowed to make service for our products.
Okay.
And when we jump to the electronic topics, it's quite the same. When we develop software, we make it different.
Yeah.
Test it. Yep.
You mentioned culture, and that has to be the secret. If you can maintain the same culture that you're known for, and you maintain it in the other core, the other businesses, I'm going to say, I almost said core business, but your core business is still load tap changers, but it sounds like your core business is going to become much, much broader to your customers, much more full service to your customers.
And what I should mention out that it's not a separate business unit. It's the same company. We talk about the same people who are doing this automation business. It's the same production department. It's the same test field. We have the same engineers for the housing, for all these things. We use the same people.
Okay.
And at least we sell a system. We do not sell ethos and automation product. And on the other hand, OATC, we sell it at once.
Okay.
Inside this ethos system, there is a drive for the OATC. These are the same people, the same guys who work with the customers.
It's a brilliant go-to-market strategy. One of your compadres that is at MR there, Thorsten, was telling us about his 1988 BMW, right? Convertible BMW. My son just bought a VW ID4, the electric car in California. It is not the same as that 1988 BMW that Thorsten's driving around. So we use the term, it's not your grandfather's BMW anymore as companies evolve and change. But we're going to have more conversations about some specific applications. But give me one, if you can. Take one application. You don't need to mention the customer where MR has been able to bring all of it together, or the customer said, bring it together for us, because that would be helpful when you're looking at, doing everything. When you bring in a load tap changer, you can bring it in new. But how do you help a customer say, do it, fix it, make it work?
It's not easy to collect one because so many customers
Right.
where we do so. When we look to Germany as an example, because it's close to my place here, we have a project together with Tenet, one of the biggest. You know it, maybe?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And we are in a substation there, and we use a transformer and bring all the sensors, bushing monitoring, DGI monitoring, OATC monitoring, the cooling control, the OATC drive, the voltage regulation in one cabinet. And then we connect it twice. We connect it to the SCADA system at one point and bring all this information to the SCADA system. And at the moment, we discuss together with PSI, one of the biggest EMS manufacturer in Germany, to create this dynamic transformer rating with this customer. And on the other hand, we connect the system via the SCADA protocol via a data diode. We call it a data diode to the asset management system. And there they build a quite new fleet monitoring, asset performance management.
That's for a reliability guy, data and the access to data. And I use the term, let the machine tell you what's going on, right? What you just described is you're letting the transformer tell you what's going on. You're doing all these things to the transformer, variable power, all these things. Let the transformer speak. That should be your new slogan behind you, is let your transformer speak. Okay, you don't have to pay me for that. Okay, that's
perfect. Let me add something. What we also do, we prepared a new algorithm on the transformer on the ethos.
Okay.
We call it asset intelligence. And at this algorithm, we combine all the knowledge from our great technicians and our experts at MR.
Mhm.
And they combine all these informations in a beige grid,
Okay.
and give the customer a recommendation what analyzes what is going on in the transformer, and also a recommendation what is doing next.
Right.
We can send this directly from the transformer to the asset management system. We call it asset intelligence.
It is a new day for the marketplace, completely new day. I mean, when you add the fact that we've got the great retirement, and you've got the average power transformer in Europe and the United States is 38 years. They were not supposed to last 38 years. So not only do you have an issue with new transformers, you have a whole, the future is so bright for MR because you could retrofit the world. I hope you're ready for all of that growth.
Yes, of course we are. We are really ready for this. And also for new transformer, I think it could be really useful to know what's going on my transformer, although for this management system.
Right,
not only for asset management, not only for the older ones, also for the new ones.
Right. So next interview that we do, we're gonna drill down on a couple of areas. Okay, you've kind of given us an overview of what it means. Now I understand what the director of automation does for MR. Okay, so I have a better understanding. Now I can really ask you a lot of the hard questions there. But thank you so much. I think you've positioned MR beautifully for where you're going in the marketplace, and just wish you much success, and thank you for the quality culture that you're creating for the marketplace, because I have transformer oil in my blood, right? Anything you can do to keep those transformers reliable, it works for me. So thank you so much, Jürgen. We will be back and we will do this again.
Thank you, Alan. Looking forward.